change the clutch master cylinder on your Fiat 500, you're going to need, obviously, a new clutch master cylinder. If it doesn't come with a hose, make sure you take the hose off of your old one or buy some new hose. An optional O-ring is nice to go on the quick connect, and obviously new brake fluid, clutch fluid, because on the Fiat 500 American models, especially from 2012 to at least 2015, the brake and clutch share the same reservoir. The tools needed are a 1/2-inch socket, a 3/8 or 10mm socket, a T30 bit, ideally with a 1/4-inch drive, because a 3/8 or 1/2 inch is going to be too large to fit in the hole. You're going to need a 1/4-inch Allen key that you can cut down to fit in your T30, or a very slim ratcheting wrench of some kind. You're going to need a hose, ideally clear hose for bleeding, which is a 0.2 inner diameter that goes on top of your slave, and a very slim screwdriver, maybe some needle nose pliers to help you along the way. I ordered a Sachs brand master clutch cylinder, and the hose on the new unit was too short, so I had to take off the hose off of my existing unit. So if you ordered a Sachs, just be aware of this. You should do it before you start. Step 1 is removing your battery.
The battery retainer bolt is a 1/2 inch. Get that out. Take off your negative terminal first. To get your positive out, you're going to have to undo these guys, which it's just a matter of make sure this yellow tab is pulled all the way back. So if it's pushed in like this, push it back, and you lift up on here like so. And as you push it, it'll start to release and then lift up. It's easier with 2 hands. So again, pull the yellow tab out. In this case, lift it up this way. Grab a hold of it, pull up and wiggle. All right, that one was much easier than the positive. And get these out of the way. Now, with your battery hold down out of the way, you can take this guy off and throw this guy up, stick it out of the way, and pull up the battery, which I'll need 2 hands for. With the battery out, you can have 2 additional 1/2 inch bolts. There's one there, there's one here, and then there's a nut deep, deep down in there you need to take off. So there's 3 things you need to take off underneath your battery to get the battery tray out. Once those are out, here, we'll just throw those all in there for now. You can lift it up. Just note, this is still attached up here and to the car. So if you really want to get this out of the way, you need to undo this guy now. I think I'll just leave mine and just put it off to the side.
With the battery tray out of the way, we now move into the driver's side footwell. Push your seat all the way back, or if you want a bit more room, you can remove it. We'll need to remove the fuse panel cover, so use a 10mm socket or 3/8 to take off the 2 nuts. Once those are off, we'll have a bit more room to look at this guy, which is your clutch master cylinder, which is held in by 2 T30 screws/bolts. There's one at the top that's really hard to get at, and one at the bottom. All right, so there's a view of the one at the top, and the one at the bottom is there. And this is what it looks like. It's long ways in there, so your socket is going to go almost all the way in.
Held on there, it's just pushed on, so you can just kind of like pry it out. There we go. Now I should be able to get that down. And
because there's no real room to fit your ratchet onto your socket, what I ended up doing is finding a 1/4-inch Allen key that I had around. I cut it down so it would just the remaining part would fit onto the bit and not stick out towards the footwell. So again, it's a 1/4-inch. Go around and see what you have at the house. You might have to go buy one, or if you're really lucky, I guess you could have a super slim ratcheting wrench you could use. But with this, it seems to fit in there nicely.
Eventually, after some blood, sweat, and tears, you'll get it out of there. And here's what it looks like. It's more like a screw than a bolt, that's for sure. Incredibly crappy. So that's the bottom one. Now we get to do the fun top one, which is right up there.
So here's our new Sachs master cylinder. All right, so it's going into the car. I'll turn it around this way, I guess. For those are in the top. That clips onto the clutch pedal. I'm guessing this long hose
Is that one right there in the back. You're gonna see that the one of the hoses from the master cylinder goes right here into your brake cylinder / clutch fluid reservoir. So brake and clutch fluid reservoir. It's quite low down, so we're gonna suck some of this out to get that fluid level to below where that line is. Otherwise, when I disconnect that line, it's just all gonna drain either into the driver's footwell, or if I just pop it off here, all over the engine bay. So we'll just use a little handy pump we have here and suck that out as best we can.
My hose had never come off, so it still had the factory clip, which are a super pain in the butt to remove. I found a combination of pliers and a screwdriver, eventually got it off. The hose is off the reservoir. You can go back inside and basically just remove the quick connect on the bottom because the top will just pull out now. If you don't want to take it off the reservoir, you can optionally take the top hose off the back with that clip right there. But I found it was easier just to take it off the reservoir and pull it out once the quick connect clip was off.
Right there.
The quick connect tabs on a Fiat have like this circlip, kind of like a snap ring almost. You can use your fingernail or a small screwdriver to go into that little channel at the top there and pry it up, and that will pull it out of the male side of the hose, and then you can just pull them apart.
Would you look at that?
Found the best way to put the quick connect back onto your new cylinder is to put a pair of vice grips onto the hose, and it'll hold it out far enough and stop it from going back into the little hole there. So when you push on your new master cylinder, it actually holds it in place, and you can clip the clip back in.
So when you finally do get your two bolts / screws back into here, the only thing remaining to do is just to clip on your little plunger onto the pedal, and you're going to need to push your pedal down a bit to get it close enough to actually push on there.
Don't forget to hook up your hose back to your brake/clutch reservoir. I found it was kind of near the bottom of my brake booster there, and I had to use a long pair of needle nose pliers to grab it and pull it up. Probably a better idea to do it before you put your 2 screws in finally, in case you have to move it around a bit. I did want to point out it'd be really silly not to change your slave master cylinder while you're doing all this. It's just an additional 2 half-inch bolts at the top with the arrows, and another quick connect circled by the yellow line there.
Okay, so I've got the 2 half-inch bolts out of there. And then it's just a matter of taking it out and getting this hose off. There we go. So that clip is up. And we'll get our new unit ready with the clip up. So we won't hopefully lose a ton of fluid. We're going to lose some, and we're going to introduce air bubbles, which will have to bleed out, but let's see how this goes. Put my thumb over it. All right, so we got the old unit out. And put the new unit in. And like so. A plunger with that guy, so that it's like this, and it's actually going to push on it when, it's hard to get a good shot of it, when you're pushing down your pedal. Okay, so now we need to bleed it. So you take off the little dust cap. See if we can find a little plastic hose that fits on there, which I think will work. So we're going to jam this on the end here, like so. All right, and now we have one end, which we'll get a jar.
To open the bleed screw, you're going to turn it counterclockwise 180 degrees, then go push on your clutch pedal, which will push fluid through the reservoir. Come back to your engine compartment, close off the bleed screw, and then go back into your car and lift the clutch pedal up. Here, I'll just show you that.
So we're going to go close off that valve and pull it up back by hand. And it's still connected to the arm, just there's no pressure to pull it back up.
So we'll close it off here. So clockwise. Right, so now the valve is closed. We'll go back in, pull it up by hand. Go back, open the valve, push it again, and it definitely pushed some through, right? You can see that it had gone from nothing to about halfway. So this method is working, it's just a little slow. I repeated this about 15 times, which used up almost a full quart of brake fluid, which is good to flush it out anyways. And after I was confident there were no more bubbles coming up, I closed off the bleeder screw and tested it, and seems to be working good. So thanks for watching. Hope it helps. Cheers.